Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. This live edition. I think this is the first time you've been on the live edition, right, Adriana? It's been a while, right? I think you're still on mute.
I knew that was going to happen. So yeah, it's been a while.
There you go. Welcome, everybody. A lot of you that are on. Just let you know, this is all live, talking all about Mexican soccer for at least, we're going to try to see if we can get to an hour. Today joining me is Adriana Terrazas de la Ciudad de Mexico. If you don't know her, you don't follow her on Twitter, definitely do. Breaking news on so many different things. And she works with TUDN, so she always lets me know when things are on TUDN. And vice versa, we let her know that stuff is on in the US at TUDN. Yeah. So Adriana, thank you for joining. What's happening in Ciudad de Mexico? How's the weather? It's either, we never know if it's hot, it's rainy, it's
cloudy every single day, and I'm dying for it to rain. Like, we need like a really big thunderstorm, because it gets like cloudy every single day, and it gets like really humid and really warm, and you just want it to be over with. So, and we have like a drought some places, so it would be great if it rained a little bit more. So yeah, I'm kind of eager to have like a really cool like thunderstorm come along in the next couple of days.
There you go. So really quick, you have some gamer headphones, and we have to show you this cool. Check it out. This is
all right.
See if she's throwing it on there, and bam, that's it. Like,
wow.
Just wanted to throw it out, the fact that she's got some cool headphones. So, yeah. So, anyways,
this is what happens when you see Chicharito do Twitch and stuff.
Yeah. I need to get
inspiring.
I'm like, I was trying to bring some kind of accessory, and like, okay, maybe I've just some glasses on. No. For all of you that are joining,
I can't join meetings like this though. It's too distracting. I'm not taking you seriously.
You should join. You should get one of the the gamer chairs too, like the one that everybody has.
No, that's like a huge investment. That's like paying like half a car or something.
Yeah, those get there. All right, if you're listening to us, you're watching us. There's 71 of you watching us right now. If it's on the, Mexican Soccer Shows, which I think Periscope, I think it's going away, and also on the YouTube channel. Send us your questions, even if it's saying hello, who's out there right now, and we'll post them up here on the comments. And yeah, we'll do it. So we're let's just jump right in. We're going to be talking a lot. We have El Tri Femenil, we have the CCL, we have new friendlies for Mexico. Then Liga MX is finally showing up to this team. So there's lots and lots to cover. So we're going to jump right in. We also have a guest that will be joining us from Grupo Alegre, specifically from Santos. We're just going to chat a little bit really quick on some community involvement. So should be a lot. So we're gonna jump right into CCL talk, and yeah, let's go ahead and start. Adriana, CCL started last week, and lots of people were talking about how maybe this could have been the easiest round for Mexican teams, that they can get to it just because of the caliber of the teams that were there: Monterrey, León, Cruz Azul, and obviously America. But it wasn't like they steamrolled. In fact, a little surprised with the MLS teams going. How did you take it?
I mean, usually when this tournament comes along, I mean, it was supposed to start, I think, in March, and it was delayed a bit until April. We're always kind of doubtful regarding how MLS teams will join, because this is when having the calendar that they have kind of has that disadvantage of coming in preseason, like new players coming in, not actually having a competitive tournament right before, unlike Liga MX, which is halfway through its tournament. So I think they always have that kind of handicap, which might not be such a handicap if you look into the MLS, because that means that they have this for kind of like a preseason coming into the tournament that begins this weekend. So, I mean, the thing with this tournament is we need MLS teams to be more competitive, or Liga MX teams at this point, but we also need the rest of the CONCACAF to be way more competitive, because other than that, it just seems as though the other teams won't take it as seriously. I mean, we had Cruz Azul travel with like -8 like starting players for Liga MX. Same thing with some of the other teams. So unless we start seeing higher competition, I think MLS and Liga MX are probably not going to take it as seriously as they should until probably semifinals or something.
Yeah. Right away, we get the comments. Where Chivas at? Ooh, I don't know,
the burn.
Adriana is the bird. That's funny. Coming into the conversation, yeah, where is Chivas at? It's
we're struggling to make it to repechaje. We can't be distracted at this point.
Even there, showing you a little bit of the results that's there. Here we go. As you can see, a little surprised because if, like I said, León not taking the win in Estadio León. Now they got to travel to Toronto, which they always have the hardest. I was really surprised with the Costa Rican teams. La Liga supposedly make a statement with after winning the league, but going down. And even though there was a red card, and I got to watch that game against Atlanta, and they lost in there in Costa Rica. Also, Saprissa losing it to Ricardo Saprissa. So, somebody said it, I think, on Twitter. I think it was Martin Palacio said that if there's a time that MLS might win, it could be this one. But then again, we'll start seeing where the Mexican clubs start, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wish it were like it would really sting Liga MX. I mean, whenever if they ever, I think they probably will at some point, lose the final against an MLS team, I think that's probably gonna just shake Liga MX all over and just bring a bit more competition to the tournament. Because truth be told, I mean, we're looking at semifinals, and it's usually all 4 Liga MX teams that's in the semifinal anyway. So hopefully we'll have that greater competition. I mean, you do have really great MLS teams this year participating. I mean, I think Portland Timbers is one of the more competitive teams, Atlanta United as well. Philadelphia, so-so, Columbus Crew, current MLS champions. So, I mean, they do have something to compete with. I mean, just a bit more, I think, than last year.
Well, right? I mean, if you're looking at the bracket, on the semifinals, the quarterfinals, whoever wins, León, let's say, takes over Toronto, León and Cruz Azul will meet. On one of the other side is Monterrey will meet on that side. And then there's just America on the other side. So it's not like we're going to
have like all Liga MX.
All Liga MX, semifinals. We see that, going into if Atlanta goes through, that's, I would think, the quarterfinal up there. And then, America is going to have a quarterfinal there with maybe Portland Timbers.
That's pretty good. That would be a pretty good match, to be honest. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah. And so I mean, we can definitely see that there's definitely some in there. The León Cruz Azul, which would be kind of funny because as we've seen Cruz Azul, right, able to take that legendary. We'll talk a little more about Liga MX in a minute, but if they do, I mean, those dates are in there. we'll see whenever they face each other. That Cruz Azul and León match, if they're on the quarterfinals, will be kind of interesting too.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, again, I just hope it brings up like tougher competition, because that way clubs will take it even more seriously. I mean, I know it's a difficult moment for Liga MX teams. You're thinking about if you're going to make it through the quarterfinals directly, if you're going to be in the repechaje. Tons of injuries. I mean, I think America only had like an entire roster available last weekend. So you kind of have to look in on that. Obviously, traveling, coming back, COVID testing. So it's definitely not easy. But still, I wish it were just a bit more competitive. That way, I think we would all benefit from that.
Yes, definitely. So we'll see. We have our first guest, who I'm going to add to the stream right now, so we can talk to. See if she's able to join. Laura, you able to hear us okay?
Yes, I hear you fine. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for joining the Mexican Soccer Show. This is a first, by the way, that having someone like you join the show to just talk a little bit about something very, very important, right? Which is how to bring the community together. Just a really quick. Laura she's the president of Ganar Sirviendo, which is the Grupo Orelegi social outreach program. And let me make sure I say your name correctly, because it's very important. Laura Calv de Iragorri, right?
Right.
Right. The Calv, where does that come from, Laura?
From Germany, actually.
There you go. See, so we learned something new anyway. Regarding the program, Guerreton is very important. Laura, tell us a little bit about it and the impact that it's making.
Yes, well, this is our eighth Guerreton. We had to postpone last Guerreton because of COVID, but this year we wanted to make it because of the kids. I mean, they've been at home, they haven't been able to go to school, they haven't been able to socialize. So this year was very important for us to have it. This year, we are not having the shower, but we tropicalize it a little bit, as you can see on the video right now. We made a caravana that is typical in Torreon right now when people are having birthdays or the kids are having their birthday. Their friends go in their cars and say happy birthday through their car. So now we wanted to make it a little bit like that. So we had cars going into the stadium and throwing their stuffed animals and their balls, because we are not going to have it the 18th of April when we are playing against Toluca.
Yeah. It's specifically why toys and why children. There's so many different ways to get to the community. Why do you think that's important, Laura?
Well, children are the future of our world, so we want to encourage them to play. It's something that gives them hope, illusion, so they learn through playing. So that's why we wanted to do it with toys.
Got it. Yeah. And is there a goal this year of what you want to do?
Yes. 2 years ago, we gathered 9,000. So this year's goal is 10,000.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know.
10,000 and how, and you're pretty confident that it'll get there? I mean, is it already like spreading the word?
Yes, it's spreading the word. The caravana, as you can see, was amazing. There were lines of cars all the time going into the stadium. They saw the players. We had the female players and the men players. So it was amazing. We had the Guerrero, as you can see it now. And we also have in our website, Santos Shop, www.santoshop.mx, where you can donate a stuffed animal for as low as 50 pesos or $2.50.
Wow. Awesome. Well, that's definitely, we'll tweet it out and we'll make sure people here in the United States find a way to contribute in the sense. It seems like Grupo Orelegi, the organization is always doing something different, right? Even we see it on a very small basis with Liga MX teams that are, have an English channel or are doing things in the community. And Santos is always striving to do something different and impactful. And I think that comes from, from the organization. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. For us, our social responsibility programs, we always say that it's the backbone of Grupo Orlegui. It's what motivates us. And it's ganar sirviendo, which is winning by serving others, serving the people who are more vulnerable.
Perfect. Well, great. I don't know, Adriana, if you either have any other questions and especially someone as important as being on with us.
I would just like to say that everything that Santos does usually is so impactful because you have the kids that are coming into the games and you choose them and they're like every season you have a different kid that's kind of like supporting the team. So I know you do that. You constantly have the guerretons. And I know it's something that I think identifies Santos, and it's really different. You see other teams helping, but with Santos, it's more like an identity that comes with the club. You know that it's not only about playing, but it's also about doing something for the community. So I would just like to point that out because you can tell that that's totally different from Santos. And there's always this identity with people from Coahuila that they're luchones, right? They help every time they can, and they're really hardworking people. So this just comes along amazingly with Santos and everything you guys are doing for the community. I just wish other clubs would look into that and find other ways that they could also involve themselves even more with their communities, right?
Thank you, Adriana. I agree. For us, the social responsibility work is, as I said, our core. It's what identifies us. We do it with our players. All of our players do programs where they help the most vulnerable people. We have, as you said, the padrino or madrina, which is a kid with a different disability that goes all the year with the players, and we learn about the discapacity they have. This year, we are focusing on people who cannot see. So we are learning a lot about those people. So that's what we do. We try to help people, but also to learn about the disabilities and ways that we can be together in this community.
Wow. Well, from the Mexican Soccer Show, thank you so much, Laura, for spending some time with us. And we're going to be tweeting out all the information. And this is a way for us to to get involved here in the U.S., especially with a great organization. And I know you have a busy schedule, so thank you for taking some time with us here at the Mexican Soccer Show. You're welcome anytime. Let us know how we can get involved and just to do our part of getting into the community and what you guys are doing.
No, thank you for having me, because being in shows like this one help us get through all of our fans in the US and all over the world. So thank you for having me and giving me a space with you.
Nope. Thank you so much, Laura, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Laura.
It's so cool that I mean, like I said, and it's not a lie. If you're listening to it, guys, that Grupo Orlegui, Santos, Atlas, they're always doing something different in that sense. To even having just the English account, like I said, so it was really cool for them to come on and we'll do that. So right now, I'm sure we'll prepare some information for you guys to do, and you're able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and what I was saying is really true. I mean, there's kind of like an identity here in Mexico with every state. You know how people are within different states. And one thing about Coahuila, it's such a difficult region sometimes. It's dry, it's desert. I mean, you remember, I think it was like a month ago, we had like the sandstorm in the middle of the game. So it's a really difficult place sometimes, like geographically, but that just has proven to be like a challenge for people there. And it just shows how hardworking they are. I mean, you really go there and you can really tell people are really, like, it's funny you say luchones. They really fight to get things done. So I think the way that Santos has just managed that and made that part of the club's identity is just so valuable, because I think other clubs could do something like that and try to be just a bit more integrated to what their specific region is about. So amazing to see this. I mean, everyone has seen. I wish they could have done it at the stadium, because it's so much fun to see like thousands of teddy bears just flying everywhere. But the idea about the cars and the caravan and everything is just equally amazing, and it is something that. I remember some neighbors just not too long ago, a few months ago, they came, and I guess someone is a grandma, and I could see it from my window. And I think all her grandchildren came by from the car and were honking and putting like posters out and stuff like that. So I can just imagine that's pretty cool as well if you're a kid and you go to the stadium and you're looking at the players and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
So there we go. All right. Moving on to what's happening. El Tri Femenil. right? Big games. It looks like. I mean, and I'm sure you're excited. I mean, seeing the so many people not only watching the game but talking about the game that they had
Yeah.
against Costa Rica, Slovakia. Although it wasn't. I mean, now we're expecting them to win. That's the cool part about watching this team grow. Where before, we're like, well, it's in Europe, or I mean, we don't know what happens as long as they don't lose a lot. But now you're kind of like, well, they could have won this game, the game against Slovakia, and then now coming with a very important federation like it's Spain.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts on that game that's tomorrow, and not super early like the other game.
Oh, thank God, because it was at 7 a.m. on Saturday, and that was tough.
Yeah.
Especially it was tough because I knew it was going to be a really long day because you had Madrid, Barcelona a few hours afterwards, and then we had Tigres America, Cruz Azul Chivas. That was a long day. That was a busy day. I mean, we knew it was going to be difficult. I mean, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from Slovakia. It's just a team that we don't know too much about. I think we faced them a couple of years ago in the Cyprus Cup. But whenever we did go to the Cyprus Cup, it was usually with a team B for the women's side. It wasn't really your top players at that moment, which was something I would criticize at that time. But I mean, this is what it's about. I mean, it's about getting those games in, getting to know some of the players, making sure Monica Vergara tests out all players who she thinks are attractive when she sees them in the league or in the US or in Europe. So just having the opportunity to have them play competitively, I think will let her know who can actually be that backbone of a team and what other players she can look into to start just having that higher competition within the team. So great to see them. It's going to be a really tough game tomorrow against Spain. Obviously, when we remember Spain, we think about that the U17 World Cup final against them that we lost. So, they know us. I mean, they talked about Kenti a few hours ago in the press conference. They know her well. They know what the Liga MX Femenil players are up to as well. Really happy to see the league getting that recognition from other countries as well. But truth be told, Liga Verdrola has been around for a while, and they do have really amazing players. I mean, just looking at Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid, they have top-notch players. They play Champions League for the women's side as well, obviously. So it's going to be a really tough game for Monica Vergara, but I think this is what we need. We need this competition. We need to know if players are up for it, if they need to work on something, and it's not. I don't think we'll learn as much just winning games that against rivals that are not as competitive, rather than just having a really competitive game and learning from it and learning from the mistakes, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's getting the opportunity to play against this opposition doesn't come very often. If you have any questions about El Tri Femenil right here, go ahead and put them on the chat and we will answer them. I wanted to get your thoughts on Ceci Santiago and also Katie Rose were asked a little bit about Monica Vergara and their leadership, and this is what they said.
Pues ahorita hemos tenido algunos partidos de preparación, ya lo hicimos contra Costa Rica y yo creo que hemos estado bien, hemos mejorado en muchas cosas. Obviamente este es un proceso muy diferente, pero las que estamos, yo creo que Moni sabe que estamos aquí por hacer nuestro mejor esfuerzo, y este partido va a ser importante como lo ha sido contra Eslovaquia, como lo ha sido también los partidos anteriores. Entonces yo estoy segura que el equipo está concentrado, está súper enfocado en hacer el mejor papel, especialmente sabiendo que ahorita estamos en Europa haciendo partidos internacionales. Entonces hay que aprovecharlos al 100% y no hay que dejar ir ningún partido para mejorar.
Yeah, and what I like about this is that everyone kind of sees it. It's like a new era. It's a new beginning, and Monica is really getting that philosophy with the ladies.
It is. It's different in so many ways. Not only the fact that Monica Vergara took over the senior team, but you see it. We have a Twitter account that's dedicated entirely to the women's national teams, which is different. We see players. We see decisions that just go by what we see every weekend in Liga MX Femenil. We don't have players who are questioning why are they there and why isn't somebody else. I mean, obviously, yeah, we do have You might think one player over the other, but we saw changes between the call-ups for the Costa Rica games and then for this game as well. We saw some players get continuity. We saw certain positions being called up differently because, you could tell against Costa Rica we might be just a bit weaker in one position or a couple. So it seems logical. It seems as though there's actually a process behind it and there's a project that they're standing by. Just the fact that we're having friendlies. I mean, Amy and I have spoken about this so much in the Our Football podcast. It was a year. We had like the senior national team had a year off. We didn't know anything about them, and it's every single other division in the national teams, men and women, they at least had a virtual camp during like January to 2020 to January 2021. At least they had that. But the senior team for the women's side had nothing. We didn't know about them for a year. We let them go in the Cyprus Cup last year, and that was it.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't as though that was a really great call up. We had some players coming in. I mean, not national team material. Not saying that they weren't, but like all of them together, it just seemed as though it wasn't our A team. So just looking at that, we have now 4 friendlies in 3 months. We have different call ups. We had a camp as well in January. You're starting to see a lot more of a project that's going with the women's side and also with the U20. I mean, Maribel Dominguez had her first friendly with the U20 team against Brazil. They had another game today. They lost both games against Brazil 1-0. I really don't care that they lost. I mean, it's a process. It is Brazil, and it's a powerhouse in any division that you face. But again, we just didn't have that. It was just not something that happened. You didn't have Brazil come over and play you in the Centro de Alto Rendimiento. That just didn't happen. Yeah. Right. Again, the women's side playing at the Azteca. I don't remember the last time I saw the women's team play at the Azteca. It was just something that it was so hard and difficult to know when was the last time that everyone just had a different date for that because we weren't really sure. We don't even have that information. And now we're starting to get that database of all this information and players and following up on them in Liga MX Femenil. So yeah, it's just amazing in so many ways. Liga MX Femenil tweeted out yesterday or today. I don't know. I mess up days now. But they, in the same like period of time, they've grown 8% with TV audiences, and they had a record audience a couple of weeks ago with the Clásicos. So it's starting to all come together. Yeah, it's starting to grow and it's coming together. Yeah.
And we're getting to see the players. We're going to see the talent of the players. You know, it's this almost the same thing that's happening. Players wanting to go to Europe, for example. You're starting to see the exportation of players. You know what has done, what Ceci's doing over there. You know, Kiana Palacios is doing over there. One of the questions I was asked here at the press conference before we're done with this topic is, let me see if I can get it. One of them was, there we go. Was a question to, I believe, Kenty saying, can we, you know, who should they look up to in terms of going abroad? I don't know if you're on that question. And I think Kenty kind of laughed a little bit, as you can see right here, because everybody's referring to Kenty saying, "Hey, I made it to Real Madrid. Everyone should too." Is what we do with the men's, right?
It is.
Look what Rafa made. You should be like Guardado. You should be like Tecatito to all the guys. And it was a question that was asked, the same thing, saying, "Hey, you know, who people should look up to whenever the girls or the young girls, and then also the players in the national team." And this was her response, which is a little bit different. She laughs.
Yo creo que cada una tiene que seguir los pasos exacto, que desee. No tienen que. Mi idea siempre ha sido que no tienen que seguir a nadie y intentar parecerse, tienen que ser ellas mismas. Y yo las veo muy capaces a todas las que están aquí o están en México de luchar por lo que quieren y conseguirlo.
Which I was a little bit thrown off because normally it's like, yeah, us get to Europe, but she's like, no,
just look at me.
You need to do what you need to do. But it is Kenty. She's always like that, though. You're getting to know her a little bit more. I don't, she's not a look at me type of person.
No, she's amazing with her responses. It's just amazing to see. I mean, when she's spoken about the Players Association in Spain, for instance, and how they're trying to support players over here in Liga MX and stuff like that, she's really like to the point, which is amazing as players. I appreciate that from all women's players, to be honest, because with the men, it's kind of like they don't want to answer anything usually. And it's an awesome response. I mean, you don't have to be like anybody else. If you're just the way you want to be, and you achieve, and you strive to be a better person every single time, you're just going to surprise yourself with how many goals you're achieving. So that's an amazing response. I mean, and if you look at her career, it's just an example of that, how she hasn't stopped growing, whether it's with the national team, whether it's with her professional career, as a club. Like it's Genti all the way. I mean, you see it all the time. I remember when they played the Pan American Games in Lima. She has family in Lima, which is amazing. And just every time she spoke about this, it was like, this is what it comes down to. I mean, all these sacrifices, they'll give you good results, and you'll achieve your goals if you just have that in mind every single day, because it is difficult. I mean, these are some of the players that really didn't benefit from the league. Some of them on the national team did, but not all of them. So again, they still had to struggle to have that professional career as women.
Yeah. Interesting that in that response. So we'll see. All right, we'll continue on. The men's, they're done with their tour, but last week was also announced Mexico versus Iceland on May 30th.
I'm so happy. I love I love the jersey. I love them like in the Euro.
Yeah,
such an amazing team.
Yeah. It's another friendly for El Tri, and it's the first one in the Mex Tour 2021, which everyone always goes, the Molero Tour or whatever, and we can continue to have that discussion that our youth teams and our Femenil teams are, because of this, the money goes into flying them around to go to Cyprus, to go all the places. Look at 4 friendlies that we've done, and we can have that discussion. But if you don't know, I believe there's going to be, they're going to announce, and it's going to be some people that you're going to be able to attend this game. So they haven't announced that yet, but Iceland, we seem to play Iceland every other year or something like that. I think we played them in Vegas. I think we played them in Los Angeles. I think they beat us. We beat them. So Iceland is good, especially since we struggled against Wales, right? They scored, they came back. I has Cantata, get through that bunker, and especially high, tall, physical teams, European teams. So I think it's a good test.
I think it's going to be a really great test, especially because, I mean, the MLS players coming in, for example, I know we didn't have the best to say about Rodolfo Pizarro during the European games. Yeah. So probably now looking into, he's going to have more activity with Inter Miami. So if he gets called up, it'll probably be a better way to look into him and see how he's actually doing, if he's Gold Cup material. So, I mean, I'm really eager to see the team have a bit more activity, especially because we know that some of these players are going to be struggling to be in the Gold Cup. Some of them will probably be considered for the Olympic team. So it's just great to see to have that activity, different rivals as well. I usually appreciate when we have different kinds of rivals. And again, I love the Icelandic jersey, and I want one. So, yeah.
There you go.
There you go. I love, like the thunderclap. That's so amazing.
The thunderclap, but we saw.
And do you remember their Euro coach was a dentist? Remember that story? That was just
amazing. They at the World Cup. I mean, they were the talk of the World Cup. Not only the fans, you saw their fans. It was so much fun going up to them. So that's El Tri Femenil playing game tomorrow. Before we switch into Liga MX. TUDN is showing it in Mexico. Are they showing it in the US?
I have to look into that. I thought we were, but apparently it's not in the TV guides, but I'm pretty sure you're going to see the highlights in the website. So you could just go to tudn.com.
Go to the VPN service that I use is Hola. And you're able to
you can do that as well. Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm sorry. I mean, if I log in. Hola is a VPN service, and you're able to go and log in as if you're from Mexico, and then you're able to go into TUDN, and if you're able to watch. That's how I watch all the Liga MX games. And so, dude, I could totally get some kind of like sponsorship there, but telling everybody to do that. But that's the streams. Those are the streams that we have to find out, right? So tomorrow at 12 Central or Mexico time.
It's at 12. It's at 12 Central. It's just, I mean, you could just make your way into the Champions League games. You start off with El Tri, and then you
Champions League. Stay on
call it a day. Yeah.
Stay on to the end of the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. We've got CONCACAF in the afternoon as well. So
There you go.
there you go.
There you go. It's very, very pro to the end of there. This is where we bring in Carlos Justis next week to talk about all the sports. All right, Liga MX. Adriana, you're here. I mean, we have to talk about what's happening with Chivas. For the one time that I would put on the Chivas jersey, so they could beat Cruz Azul, and it wasn't horrible, but at the same time they let me down. Pero really quick, Chivas, and then we'll go into Cruz Azul and what's happened in Liga MX.
Okay, so truth be told, I'm a Chivas fan, and when I had to do my quiniela, I didn't root for Chivas because Cruz Azul is just playing so well. It just seemed so unlikely that they could actually beat them. Yeah. But still, I mean, I thought they were going to compete a lot better, to be honest. I thought Cruz Azul would struggle a bit more than they actually did. There was a great story because 2 years ago when León had that streak of 12 consecutive victories, who was the team that stopped them? Who avoided that 13th victory? Chivas. So kind of thought, hey, it could happen. You never know. Chivas could just end that streak right there. Didn't happen. So now it's up to America to stop that streak.
I go from putting on the Chivas jersey to throwing it in the trash, put on the America jersey. Let's go.
Let's see what happens. So, yeah, I mean, I know there's lots of people criticizing Vucetich and Peláez. I just think it is a matter of Chivas' roster not being as strong as it should be at this point. I mean, you are relying on... Yeah, I mean, it's not as if you look at the bench and you're like, oh wow, we really have like amazing, like game-changing players on the bench. They're not bad players, but they're definitely not those players that could come in and change a game. Yeah. So I really do think we need to just have a stronger roster looking into next season. Obviously, you don't want to be one of those teams that's now facing relegation. I mean, despite the fact that we don't actually have relegation, but the team that ends up last has to pay like 120 million pesos, which with all these things going on with COVID and everything, it's not something any club wants to pay. Mm-hmm. And several teams still don't have stadiums being open and stuff like that, especially the ones in Mexico City. So I think they have to look into next season. I do think they're struggling. I think the U20 team hasn't been as strong a source of new players coming in constantly. It was something that you could usually look at U20s and you could kind of identify those players like, oh, I've heard about this player and he should come in and he should get called up to the senior team and start getting minutes. We're just not seeing that. So I think it's difficult everywhere where you look at it. And it's difficult to get players from other teams because they're so expensive. And it's not as if you're bringing in U20 players that are going to change the game for any time soon. So, yeah.
Well, continuing to see with Chivas, not as a horrible season, but at the same time disappointing. And I'm sure the fans see in the same way, and we'll see where they go. But the teams that are doing it right, obviously we talked about Cruz Azul America are on another level. León gaining it back. But interesting what's going to happen in the Clásico Capitalino. There's a lot on the line of it because Solari now, coming in and doing really well. What they did with the Tigres, and then the Cruz Azul's coming. It's going to be it's a game to
so many things on the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got first place versus second, Clásico Capitalino, so you've got rivalry right there. America coming in from a Tigres match, which despite how Tigres is doing, it's still a high rivalry match.
It is. It is.
But it's a high rivalry match. And
I don't remember the last time
that consecutive victory. So
yeah, America humiliated Tigres like that in Nuevo León.
Universitario.
Like it doesn't happen. It wasn't in.
I felt badly for the fans because they were just coming back to the stadium and then they had to face this. That's not what you want to come back to the stadium for.
Yeah. It was, so it's interesting. Like you said, right? The calendar on this side of after first 8 jornadas, now the calendar is getting better with the teams facing a lot more, and you're doing that. But to use right now, Adriana, to say Cruz Azul finally gets the título?
Well, we say that every year. That's the thing. So,
I see a little bit different. Like there's,
I do. Yeah, exactly. I see a little bit
different.
I think it's
like,
confidence.
There's no pressure. No. It comes down to there's like when they play. Look what they've done. And even if Cruz Azul wins, like it's not a fluke or that pressure isn't there anymore. Like I feel that that's gone, even though the curse and all this stuff. Like
yeah, that comes in Liguilla. That's like another tournament.
That's just a different tournament. But the confidence is right now. Then comes the Liguilla, and you know, I still see León playing well again. You know, America. This is usually we have that pressure with Cruz Azul when they're expected to win. But now with America playing really well, León coming and playing really well, like Cruz Azul is not like the top, you know, team. It's like they're gonna have to do something to win, and I think the pressure comes off. It's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and I do see. I think again, they don't seem nervous. It doesn't seem as though they're struggling with this amazing streak that they have. It just seems as though they're getting comfortable with it, which is, I think, kind of different because usually we're kind of expecting them to mess up at some point. And now, even if they lose against America, I don't think it'll feel. I mean, obviously, it depends on the game, but it doesn't feel as though it was something that we were expecting to happen like 5 weeks ago. It's just something that it had to happen at some point. But it does seem as though they finally got things together. And I think, like most of all, when I look at the team, they just seem confident, and that's something that sometimes as a Cruz Azul player, I can understand it. You just don't have that all the time because you know exactly when fans are going to start complaining or just criticizing. But yeah, I mean, let's see it. The other thing to take into consideration is if they do make it straight to quarterfinals, which I think they already did this weekend, is they're going to have a week off, and other teams are going to have more activity. And we saw that last year with Chivas, who did have to play repechaje, and that actually kind of benefited. It was a benefit because they just got into better rhythm somehow, despite having to play an extra game. So
León was horrible that first game against Puebla, right? They lost, and because they had that time off too. It does, that rhythm does take you away if your players aren't there. So
exactly. So again, it could be just something to take into consideration, despite the fact you could have players and just rest them up. So I don't know. It's something that we usually saw with Liga de Ascenso. They had that happen all the time. It usually was only with the first team, with the team that was in first place. They would make it automatically to semifinals. I think they still do actually. And sometimes that's just not beneficial. You just lose so much rhythm that you're in semifinals, but you want that competitiveness. You want to have your players be top notch and keep that rhythm and not be overconfident because we're one step away from the final.
Yeah. No, definitely. So we'll see where it goes in now into the Liguilla talk. So we're getting closer and teams are coming in. Really quick, Xolos said goodbye to Guede, which was expected.
Piojo?
Sorry. It could be now, like the rumors are coming in. It comes back, brings that team forward. Piojo's back in the conversation.
I mean, it's a good fit, to be honest. I know also Mohamed was the other rumored coach that could take the team,
which have both been on there and they did well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fans know them, they know the club, they know just about everything. They're available. Piojo tested positive for COVID. I'm not entirely sure if he's out of it yet, but I think just because of how long ago that was, maybe he's probably out of it by this point. So let's just see who takes on that role and looking into whatever happens the remainder of the season and looking into next season as well.
That'd be great. Let Piojo come back. And see where it's at. Also, we'll see where it's at. Then lastly here, the Mexican Soccer Show, Necaxa may have new ownership with some investors here in the U.S. Sam Porter, Al something. He's an executive MLS club. DC United all have agreed to place about a half of a franchise area, Club Necaxa from Liga MX, according to people familiar sources. Their group of this investor is Eva Longoria, Mesut Özil, and model Kate Upton and her husband, Emily Pitcher Justin. It's like Angel City FC. The investors that you see a lot in MLS. And they're looking into Necaxa and the rumors of Liga MX and MLS coming together. Everyone was excited about these news.
It's so different. It's something that Liga MX isn't really used to. I mean, I think we were all really surprised when we had Atletico Madrid invest in Atlético de San Luis. So I'm really happy because I think it's just beneficial for the clubs. It brings in an entire different culture to the teams. It obviously brings in economic stability, which is really, really useful right now because, I mean, some of the teams made it through or are making it through the pandemic without, I mean, not struggling too much, but others really depended on fans being at the stadium every other weekend, players being sold, and that was tough as well. So yeah, I'm really happy to see new faces come in and try to switch things around in Liga MX. I think we could all benefit from that and just having new ideas. Obviously, Necaxa is one of those really historical teams that have struggled ever since they left Mexico City, pretty much. So it will be great to have a team that's just that big for Mexican soccer history, have that injection of economic stability and different ideas, culture, philosophy. And I'm guessing it's one of those decisions that will be approved in the next meeting with all the other owners, and that's when they approve of everything and it's set. And so it's probably going to be totally official by May. So let's see how that goes.
So right now, Amy in production in the chat just says, wait. Necaxa tweeted out that they are close to a historic strategic investment like an hour ago, and I'm reading here. El Club Necaxa confirma la llegada de nuevos inversionistas y aclara que la familia Tinajero continuará al frente de la institución. The first paragraph says, en relación a las inquietudes originadas por los rumores que han circulado en distintos medios sobre una posible venta, queremos aclarar que el Club Necaxa no se encuentra en venta. So, asimismo nos complaceron conocimiento. So they're saying that there is an investor group that's coming in.
Yep.
They're not.
Yeah, they said they're really close. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're not saying it's a done deal, but they're saying that they're really close, that they're having tons of meetings and working really hard. And they think it's a historical and strategic investment for the club and for Mexican soccer.
There you go.
So hopefully, yeah, I mean, that would be really interesting to see other like investment coming in from abroad, because again, we've seen this happen with Querétaro in some occasions. So tons of teams have switched around owners, especially the ones that are in ascenso. Mm-hmm. So someone that can bring in stability, that's always welcome to for the league.
Somebody said like why Club Necaxa is probably the cheapest team.
Well, I mean, yeah, they have struggled. It's not, I mean, just remember how many players have actually been sold to other teams as well. I mean, you had Diet that had been sold to Chivas. You had Roberto Alvarado came in from Necaxa. I think he was as well. So I think there's actually a story like a year ago. You could have like an ideal like starting 11 with all the players that Necaxa had sold just recently. So
there it is.
Yeah, so they probably just need that like economic fuel and just to bring some stability and not think about selling their players every single season.
All right. Well, guys, that's all we have on the Mexican Soccer Show today. Lots and lots that we covered. Continuing, our football podcast that I know took a break last week, but we'll continue to be on this week.
Yep.
We have Liga MX preview today. Cesar was, I think he got his second dose of the vaccine, and he was a little bit. He's like, you know what, it's just gonna take a day. That's good. So we'll do that. So and then thank you, Amy, for putting it all together. A production of this show. All of you guys that were a little quiet today on the comments. Just gonna throw it out there, but I believe we didn't get to this comment, and I'm gonna answer. It says, "What do you guys think of the new CCL format?" Before we leave.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but I do think it comes down to just how strong the teams are coming into the. I mean, I don't think the format will change as much as long as teams aren't just having like stronger rosters. I mean, just today. Wait, that was it today? Again, I mess up the days. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's like the Arcajie, like the Cruz Azul's rival.
Yeah,
they did.
I butchered it the other day.
Yeah, it's like when you look at them and you're like, how do you pronounce that? They were just saying that they didn't have enough money to make the trip to Mexico City. They had to ask CONCACAF to pitch in because you're flying in, you have to do COVID testing, you need a place where players can stay. You can't obviously have more than 2 players per hotel room. Transportation, just like all logistics. I think they were asking about like $120,000. So yeah, I mean, if you have a club that's kind of almost about to forfeit their game because they can't travel, I'm guessing it's not a team that's going to compete as much as it should at this point against a Liga MX rival, which is sad to say, but I think it is true. So I think the format will be like it won't be as important unless we deal with those issues first.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think getting on the CCL, they should be able to give some money to those those clubs that I know they qualify for whatever. And here's this is what we'll take, and it'll be in there. So interesting.
Yeah.
We wanted to answer that question, Adriana. Once again, with your headset, that's 10 times better than mine. I have I have it too. Mine doesn't light up. I think I have one like yours when I play those gamer ones. Oh, I can hear myself. Maybe I should put these on. And so there they are, the blue lights that you have that. Again, thanks again for everyone to join us on the live show. Adriana, once again, thank you. Stay safe there in Ciudad de Mexico, and continue to do all the great things with TUDN. We'll be back next Monday, and yeah, thanks a lot. This another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. Y hasta la próxima.
Adiós.